So there's community, there's practice, and there's domain. And so in essence, there's relationship, which is what we're developing today here, and also what you've been developing over the summits and making these kinds of connections. There's domain, which is that issue that you're just passionate about, which brings us all here today with that common goal. And then finally, there's the practice, and that's the area that's moving us forward into action, and that's where today comes in.
So we're going to do a bit of a history and update. So for some of you, I see lots of familiar faces, but lots of people I haven't met as well. So we just wanted to take you through the journey of where we've been that's brought us here today. So we're going to hear from a few people from across the province that represent some of the student organizations here in Alberta. And then I'll talk a little bit about some of the summits that we've been having and the provincial framework that's been developed. And we'll go back a few steps before we come to where we are today, just so that everybody's on the same page before we get into visioning and mission and that kind of thing. So, taking us back to 2013, the University of Calgary actually hosted the first annual provincial summit. So, as part of the grant from the provincial government, the UC organized or committed to organizing a provincial summit every year for the 3 years. So 2013 was the first one. We had a big group of people coming from across the province to share ideas, to learn from each other, to talk about post-secondary student mental health and wellness. And then in 2014, we had our second annual summit, and we were joined by John Morris. So for those of you who were there, Shaylin's counterpart in BC, and we really started talking about this idea of a collective approach to how we look at mental health and addiction on Alberta campuses, how we can continue to talk to each other, to learn from each other, have some knowledge exchange, share best practices and ideas. And so that was in 2014. There was sort of a discussion around two ideas moving forward. One of them was to develop a provincial strategy for post-secondary campuses related to mental health and addiction. And then the second was to talk about how do we start a community of practice.
Would love to initially kind of get your thoughts on sort of the immediate next step. So what's the plan? You were involved with the overall committee that brought this day together. So what do you see as sort of the next path moving forward directly out of this planning day?
Yeah, I think leading up to this, there has been lots of pockets of work that's happened. We talked about earlier the summits that have happened, all the great work that groups like ASEC and CONS have been doing, and the planning committee that came together to plan today's meeting. And I think what we need now is that group potentially, or a group or a team, to come together and move forward with all the information that we've gathered from today. So really the first step is consolidating everything on the walls that we've seen, all the flip charts to use, everything that has been part of the dialogue today. Really important that we consolidate and summarize and report back to everyone who is here, but also to those who couldn't make it, who have expressed interest in being involved in the community. So getting a team together, maybe putting a call out there to see if anybody else wants to be involved in that design team or go team to help continue moving this forward and capitalize on the momentum that we've got so far.